Today we are making a marinated skirt steak. Now there are a ton of different marinades that you can make, and this is just one. So try it out and let me know what you think down below in the comments. We're going to start, you're going to need a shallow dish. Now we're going to be using about 1.5 pounds of skirt steak. So if you want to use a more elongated pan, that would be great. This is just the best option that I have, is my glass 8x8 baking dish. So in here I have a 1/4 cup of olive oil, extra virgin olive oil. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, more or less to taste. That is just the juice of 1 lemon for me. I have 3 cloves of garlic. For this recipe, you would use 2 cloves of garlic, but use more or less however you want. Again, baking is the science, cooking is the art. Especially with the marinade, you can add more or less to suit your taste. We're going to add 1.5 teaspoons of honey, 3/4 teaspoon of Dijon mustard, and then we have a 1/2 teaspoon of dried oregano and just under 1 whole teaspoon of kosher salt. I'm gonna add in some freshly cracked black pepper. And then with a whisk or a fork, go ahead and mix all of that together. You could do this in a bowl before you put it over your skirt steak in your pan. I just thought one less dish to clean, so I just mix it up right in my pan. Now the original recipe that I'm borrowing for this video today is actually double what I'm making for you guys, because you would use half of it here and then half for a couscous salad to go on the side. And I will be making that in a separate recipe, so be sure to subscribe to see that when it comes out, or why wait, I'll just link the recipe down below in the description for you guys. But that is that for our marinade, so let's get our skirt steak. Again, 1.5 pounds. I have 1.7 pounds here. And just make sure you get your skirt steak all coated. And then you're going to cover this, pop it in your fridge for at least a half hour, up to 2 hours to marinate. And the first time I made this, I only did the half hour, and I wish I would have done longer because the steak was still a bit chewy. So the lemon juice is going to help tenderize the meat. And you can let it marinate shorter or longer, whatever time you have, whatever your preference. And then when we are ready to grill this up, we can bring it out of the fridge, and our author says to let the steak come to room temperature before grilling. So I'm gonna cover this, and then I may give it a toss at the 1 hour mark. I'm gonna do the full 2 hours, just to make sure I'm getting delicious flavor in every bite. You could also pop this in a plastic bag, up to you, whatever you prefer. All right, I did 2 hours, and then I brought my skirt steak out of the fridge to come to room temperature. I have a cast iron pan over medium-high heat on the stove. Make sure your pan or your grill, whatever you're doing, is hot before you put your steak on. And I'm just cutting mine in half because my pan's not big enough to handle the whole thing. So let's go ahead and head over to the stove. All right, it's about to get loud in here. We're going to let your steak cook for 3 to 4 minutes on each side. And another reason why I cut my steak in half is because I want lots of surface contact with the steak to get a nice sear on it. So 3 to 4 minutes, flip, 3 to 4 minutes. Now I am not a steak cooking expert, so if you like yours a little more rare, you do you. If you want a little more done, same thing. All right, we want to let our steak rest for 10 minutes to lock in those juices. And now remember, this is just half of mine. And I think it's pretty normal to cut a strip steak at an angle. So make sure you have a nice little sharp knife. So this chunk was quite a bit thicker, and this is quite a bit on the rare side, which I'm sure some people like. It's not my preference. This is rare borderline blue, I think. Not a clue. Not a clue. Again, not a steak expert. But then we can put just a little bit of freshly chopped parsley on there. Maybe a bit of fresh lemon juice if you want to. I will try this end piece though. So juicy, much more tender. You gotta get the sear on it. I will say, this will smoke up your kitchen a lot, so make sure it's well ventilated, or just go out to your grill. Even if you just take your cast iron and put it on your grill, very smoky. This piece is a little bit thinner. Now, are you supposed to cut? I feel like you're supposed to cut against the grain. I don't know. We're just gonna go with it. Okay, I made my strip steak very rare compared to what I prefer, but you know what? Someone out there will like this. Again, cook to your preference. I know there is the trick of like feeling of your own flesh when you flex certain fingers. I don't know. Someone leave me down in the comments how to check your steak. Regardless, super flavorful. I will leave the recipe down below for you guys. Super easy marinade and no crazy ingredients. So this one should be easy for everyone to make. Hi, dog. I know you smelled that. It smelled good. Again, a little bit of parsley for some color contrast. Gorgeous.